afternoon, everyone. Excuse me, this is Jared RAND. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call and to the new year. You can look at it either as 2025 or 2058. Since they changed the cycles and, to 12 instead of 13 for so long, that's what's accumulated. I hope you had a good one. I have faith you had a good one. We'll be having we won't have a TFCC tonight. We will have a reverse aging health call and all the rest Friday night after 9:15 p.m. Eastern. And we'll include in that a lot of things that we haven't shared since we haven't had 2 TFCCs. And then we'll resume that next Wednesday, TFCCs. It is quite amazing that, believe it or not, there are more and more of us every day that are deciding to a certain extent, they're aware, let's put it that way, they're aware and they have decided to go within to find out, who and what they are. Now, when you talk with some people, and we're looking at probably an age group of, let's say late 20s, mid-30s, mid-late 30s type thing. And majority, when you say you're aware that, you're not this body, you're not this, you're the God within, they, I would say that maybe even 10 years ago, if you were to say that, that would get you an unusual look, let's just say, all right? But now it isn't that way. More and more of us are deciding for ourselves that it's something calling to us, which is the God that we are, more so than it has called to us. And that's a good sign because people, and they're also realizing that we're in a position as a civilization where we've got to, in a responsible way, create more vessels, create more babies on a large scale, which we have not been doing for decades. And not only that, but also believing that the children will be given information that sets them totally apart from the children over the last several generations that we have brought into this civilization, which means they will have a clear comprehension of who and what they really are in that body, starting right from the beginning and then continuing throughout their lives. This is massive. It's major. It is extremely impactful for the survival of this civilization. And our attention, and you got to kind of, some people would probably take that and say, well, we're just going to go out and make babies, parentless, and which has gone on, but not to a huge extent. But no, we're talking about the whole ball of wax, from having the child, the love brought in with the child, and then the education given to the child from day one all the way through their lives about who and what they are and what the ego mind's about and, what is it and how does it master us and direct us and all the things that it does do as not our enemy, but as a challenge for us to overcome. And by overcoming, we learn basically who and what we are by overcoming the ego mind and practicing being in the now. And more people realize that, when you look around and you see, excuse me, you see fatalities, right? You have friends, some of us have friends that leave the bodies, and we see other things that occur on the planet. And we're watching this and that. And we become more aware that we really only have the now. We do not have tomorrow. We do not have yesterday. It has already been expended. But the now is all we ever have. All we ever will have is the now. Excuse me. And one may say that we're not able to project the next day or the next morning or the next hour or the next minute. We aren't able to project what will occur in that short space of time. So we fold ourselves into the now through meditation, and we focus on the moment. And we train ourselves to be in the moment all the time. Takes a bit. Some it's easier than for others. But it takes patience and it takes consistency where it is never a drudgery, never a duty. It is automatic where we just fall into that and we practice it. Well, what does that do? Well, it eliminates all of the mind chatter, all of these thoughts that slam us 24/7, and it begins to shift with the ego mind. So we begin to become aware of the ego mind and what its purpose is and how it operates across the board. So by watching it, we learn from it. And as we do that, we also learn about our thoughts, where those thoughts come from, how are they generated. In fact, we learn that a thought is just a thought. It's nothing more than that. We choose, whether we do it consciously or unconsciously, we choose to embrace that thought. We give that thought power, and we bring that thought into our reality and experience it. Now, a lot of times those thoughts aren't ours, as we have discovered. So we don't care to engage them. We just let them pass by without, our curiosity getting the best of us and pulling it in and bringing it into our reality. We learn that our thoughts, we generate our thoughts. We send thoughts out. We generate them, we send them out. Every single time we send a thought out, it is manifesting, whatever it may be. Could be not a good thought, could be a negative thought. And this is why we focus on mastering our thoughts, so that we pretty much know that we can identify the thoughts that are ours, and we can identify the thoughts that aren't ours. And then we can make a decision. Do I want to turn this thought into a reality for me so I can experience it? Or by looking at it, I'm not interested in doing that, so it'll just pass by. And believe it or not, most of the thoughts that come to us aren't ours, but they're real tricky, as I've said in the past, is that the reason they're tricky is because we believe that they're ours. Well, where else could they? How else are they coming? Well, they're other people's thoughts. And it's amazing how we've accumulated literally billions upon billions upon billions of thoughts. And this is why we have this constant noise, we call it mind chatter, that we have all the time because we're in the ego mind. This is where all the mind chatter is. This is where all the thoughts come in that aren't ours. You have a thought, and it's an insecure thought. It gives you, you're not comfortable with the thought. At about 99.999% of the time, it is generated through the ego mind. It is someone else's thought. And ego mind pulls it in. Usually those thoughts there's something about them that gives you an uneasy feeling. May not be quickly. It might be like just a little tad feeling that kind of gives you a little discomfort, and then it passes. But a lot of the times we don't see that, and we take that thought in as our own, and then we experience it. And as we experience it, we say to ourselves that something's not right. It's just we don't feel good with it, we'll put it that way. And we look at that thought, we can't figure out why that is. And then you start to discover is that, wow, these thoughts aren't mine. These are thoughts that come in. They're real tricky because they seem like they're mine, but they're not. Now, when I have thoughts, I send them out. Those are my thoughts. See, it only makes sense that you send them out. When they come in, a lot of the times they're crazy thoughts that you wouldn't really, on a daily basis, entertain. But nonetheless, we do bring them in, and we do experience them. And this is why there's so much confusion. And this is why we are constantly repeating our lives. That's what we do. We constantly repeat them. Now, we don't identify that. We just do it, right? Until we start getting to a level of comprehension where we say, wait a minute here. This is repeat and repeat, right? This is something that I had this thought 5 years ago, and it's identical to the thought I had then. And a lot of the times we repeat things, and we don't realize that it's something that has just been regenerated. And then we take it in again. Might be a little different flavor, but we do it again, say. The core of it is the same. It might be designed a little bit different on the outside. And so this is why it tricks us, and then we bring it into our reality, give it power, and experience it. Now, once we get to a comprehension with ourselves that we comprehend and understand that this whole process is due to you, every one of us. We do it. And you begin to realize that these are things that we don't care. Excuse me. These are things that we don't care to have. These are things that we don't care to entertain or expend energy on. But many of us experience it, and then we get and say, I don't really care to experience this kind of thought. So I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to entertain it. And this is what happens as we progress on our spiritual trek, that we start to get in the habit of really getting good, not critical, right? Because you're gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. But it's more, it's a discovery. And it gets quite exciting because you're starting to discover, well, none of this is mine. What the heck do I need to entertain it, expend the energy for? Don't need to. Now, when I want something, or I design it with the power that I am within this body, and as long as I'm in this body, I can manifest it. That's you. Those are your desires, wants, that you formulate, and you do it in the now. You always do it in the now. You don't do it when you're in the ego mind. That's when we suffer. We'll suffer. Disappointment, let down, doesn't quite happen, such and so on and so forth. We've all experienced that more than once in this life. We're not exempt from it. So when we start identifying things, we begin to start comprehending, becoming more and more aware. We're not analyzing, we're not judging or criticizing. So it's a discovery through our childlike curiosity that we get curious enough that we discover that, hey, wait a minute, when I want something, I send a thought out to the universe. I'm not being interfered with by the ego mind because I'm in the heart mind. And this way, there's no restrictions. That's why we have unlimited possibilities, and anything is possible. That's all there is to it. Now, we've been trained as a civilization, a species, is that we don't know that we've been trained. We do not know that we've been programmed. We start to discover that we've been programmed, and we look at it from a whole different perspective and say, I don't really care to be programmed with this anymore. I'm going to reboot myself and start programming myself in the direction of the spiritual comprehension, you know, of who and what you are in that body. Where does that power come from? It comes from the God that you are. What is the God that you are that is housed within the soul? What is it? It's pure consciousness. Pure consciousness condensed into a little white ball of light. All right? And that ball of light is connected to all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. Again, the analogy of the drop in the ocean. The drop contains the essence of the ocean. And then when the drop falls into the ocean, it becomes the ocean. That's us. We're the drops that hold the essence of existence, of pure consciousness. And we, together, we all become the one. Say, so you, through the heart-mind, you say to yourself, I am the one. And that would not be untrue. That would be true. I am the kingdom of God. I am the heaven. And that would be true. That would be correct. If you want to use the word correct. So this is our discovery. This is our entertainment. This isn't something that is drudgery, okay? But a lot of us believe that it is, so therefore we create that for ourselves every time. If we believe something is drudgery and, oh, it's really tough, and, oh, God, it's really hard, it will be. Okay? It will be. And then there's times when we'll say, well, this is really going to be difficult. And then you find out as you do it, it's a piece of cake. It's a cinch. You see, ego mind was sitting there telling you, oh, no, you know, don't do this. This is going to be really intense. It's going to be really complicated. And yet you figure it out and you do it and you go, wow, that wasn't tough at all. Not the way I thought it was going to be. So there's a part of us that wants, right? After all, this is entertaining, and this is our stage of entertainment that we create for ourselves. We'd be bored to tears if we didn't have the entertainment. We really would. What would we do? Right? We'd stop learning. We'd stop experiencing. It would be just not fun at all. So we create things on a continual basis every split second to entertain ourselves. Now, one might say, well, then I'm not going to, why would I create something like this that I'm experiencing now? Well, look at it. Don't turn your back on it. Look at it and then see why it's occurring in your life. Why would you create that? What in it are you learning? And then we stop, see, and then we start answering those questions for ourselves. What am I learning about this? So, see, we turn that insecure feeling that the ego mind's about, and we turned it into faith, trust, and confidence in ourselves. And it's a whole different, it lends itself totally differently. We have a completely different perspective. And we learn and we absorb, and the next time it comes around, it becomes a little bit easier, a little bit easier, a little bit easier. And it's like you can be in the now walking around. It's not always in meditation, but you can be in the now. How do you know you're in the now? Because you're in the heart mind. How do you know you're in the heart mind? Because you're not fearing, worrying, stressing at all. That's how you know. But you've got to be real straight with yourself, real honest and clear with yourself. And say, okay, am I in the now? How do I know I'm in the now? Because I'm just focused on what I'm doing in this very moment. That's it. No distractions, right? No tomorrow or the next day or the next day or the next week or the next month. Only the now. And you know that, see, that you're focused only on the now. I'm focused on what I'm doing. Might be cutting paper with a scissor that you're focused on. Okay? It might be in a moment stretching your body. It might be in the moment you laugh. It's the moment that we enjoy, that we appreciate in deep gratitude. It isn't 10 minutes from now, it's not an hour from now, it's not a year from now, it's not a month, whatever. It's the now. And we know that that's what we have. We have the now. We will always have the now. It is a reassuring feeling. We get curious, really heavy duty, of course, so this is how we get impatient and we jump into the ego mind, and now we're being overloaded with things. I mean, all of that noise is back, all that stress is back, and you're saying, wow, why would I stay in this, so to speak? Why would I stay here in this when I can be in the now and none of this exists in the now? Don't have the ego mind. Allows me to master the ego mind because then I can watch it. Same with the mind, how it operates. And then we could actually shift things. I mean, we're omnipotently powerful, supreme manifesting, abundant beings. Doesn't make any sense that any of us are going without. Does it? No. It means that we begin to embrace ourselves and know within our heart minds that all of us deserve the best of everything. Everything across the board. There's real no exceptions. And then we dump off, let go, extinguish things that kept us believing the opposite of that. You see how it works? The only reason that we do have, and this is, and a lot of people probably argue this, the only reason we have poverty is because that's what our attention is on, and that's what we accept to be. That's it. There's no other reason for it. Oh, someone said they were born in a poor family and they had didn't have this and that, and all these circumstances that occurred put them in those positions. But something had to create those things, right? Something had to create them. And remember, nothing outside of us creates it. You're the universe. Universe is you. You're your own best friend. That's the truth. You're never alone. You have that all the time. And all you got to do is call upon it when you need it. And keep out of the mind. Practice staying out of your mind. Right? It's not like we're rookies at this. We've done it for thousands of lifetimes. We get seduced and we get mastered by the ego mind. That's the social structure on this planet at this time. The ego mind controls the civilization. How do we know that? Well, insecurity, really never satisfied for a long period of time, always needing more, wanting this, or requiring this, or doubting that throughout our lives. And that is ego mind. Ego mind never is satisfied. It's always seeking, searching, wanting, and having, all the time. This is why you'll have somebody, let's say, that has $1 billion, right? But they feel very insecure that they'll lose all that and they need a lot more. And this is what drives them. That insecure feeling is that way, $1 billion is not that much money, which is crazy to say. And I'm going to need more. I got to get more. And this is what drives a lot of people. You could be told that you could. All right. So you're being influenced, programmed, and you could be told that $30,000 is a lot of money. And year after year after year after year after year, you're told $30,000 is a lot of money. Now, when someone comes along and says $1 million, you won't be able to comprehend that. because you believe that $30,000 is a lot of money. And you create that for yourself. Now, on the flip side, when we do get to the clarity part and comprehension, we realize that it doesn't matter. It's whatever we desire or want. That's it, period. And we're the machine. We're the actual master creators. And we get a lot of help with the universe. A lot of help. And see, through heart-mindedness, we find that a lot of the things that you wanted in ego mind doesn't stimulate you in heart-mind. It's just, I'm not interested in that. Now, ego mind, oh yeah, again, get. But not in heart-mind. Heart-mindedness is the gift that we give to ourselves is peace. Peace of heart, mind. Tranquility. Silence. Those you cannot put any kind of a material value on, because they're the natural state that we choose to be in. The natural state of peace is when you're in heart-mindedness and you have no motivation to be anywhere else. The ego mind cannot entice you, can't seduce you anymore, and then you know that now the ego mind has become your servant rather than you being its servant. That's what happens. And we get more curious all the time. And then we get on this, what's that about? We don't get obsessed. We're just curious. You say, what is that about? So why is that here? What's this? What is this doing? How is it communicating a message to me? Because everything is a message. We are all reflections of one another. That's a great thing, because we can look at somebody that we're interacting with, and we can say, okay, now this makes sense, what they're saying, at this particular time, in this very moment. And I get it. I get what I'm learning here from this being at this time. Because remember, there isn't any coincidence. We've gotten really good at that, of describing things away that we don't understand. So, that's just coincidence. Nothing to it. And then someone that's there is a little bit more aware, and they look at you and go, are you sure about that? You really think there is coincidence, or is it something we use to just explain things away we don't understand or comprehend? So then we see these little things that show up just for you, just at that moment, just at that time, where it comes in. You're not taken aback or anything. You're curious. So you have that wonderment about it. So you say, okay, so what's this about here? What am I learning here from this? And you'd be amazed the transformation that you experience by looking at it that way. It begins that the fear-based perspective from the ego mind starts to dissolve. And more you practice this, it just disappears. Because now you're looking at it from the standpoint of a childlike curiosity, a wonderment. Somebody could be in a conversation with you and they're saying certain things. You're listening, see, and you're picking up on things. And now you're starting to realize that, wow, this being here has left me with a lot of interesting things to review. And understand that none of us are judging ourselves or judging others. We stay away from it. We know what that is. We know it's ego mind. Okay? And it just isn't there anymore for many of us. We're not interested in it. It's just something that we go, been there, done that, okay, more than once. We're really not interested in it anymore. I'm interested in loving me and everything around me and everyone. And in order to do that, we have to genuinely, not have to, but want to, love ourselves deeply and eternally. In a way. And accepting all aspects of ourselves without judging ourselves. Because again, kind, gentle, generous, and humble at all times. And when you practice this, and you basically are in the saddle. It fits. It feels really good. Not at first. It's a little rough, a little uncomfortable, because it's outside your comfort zone, so to speak. And the more you go outside of it, the more better it starts to feel. You go, wow, this is great. This is a cinch. It's so easy. It flows so well. Being happy, you do not need a catalyst to be happy. You can decide to be happy. Isn't that interesting? You don't need something outside of you to make you happy. That, as we know, is short-lived anyway. But something that you decide. I'm not going to sit here in a depressive state or anxiety-filled. That's crazy. What a waste of my power. So I'm going to shift gears right now. I decide to be happy. Someone said, well, why are you so happy? Because I can be. That's why I'm happy, because I can be happy. I discovered that I don't have to be sad. I can change that immediately with myself and be happy. You know, how do you do that? You think of something that you are always grateful for. It's always there, and you acknowledge it through gratitude. And that, in turn, opens up the happy room, which is within you. And then you decide that you're going to be happy. And you start going and making these mantras by saying that you're deeply grateful for this very moment you're in. You're deeply grateful for this, deeply grateful for that. And it's on a continual basis. You'll find that you shift and adjust to that way of creating on your own without being influenced. You actually influence yourself through the God that you are in the body. So it's great. It's up to you. It's up to every one of us. This is, if you're unhappy, decide to be happy. Now, someone might look at you and go, well, are you crazy? But if delivered correctly, where it's not an affront to someone, and you say, have you ever done, you just decided that out of the clear blue you were just going to be happy. That there was nothing that you needed to be happy. You decided to be happy. And in an instant, everything shifts. Everything. How you view things, what you're looking at, how you're responding to things, how you're interacting. A whole different energy, frequency. Plus, it increases your frequency by being happy. You ever been around people that are happy? What do you think happens? You get happy. And why is that? Well, you've decided to be happy, and that's why you're happy around other people that are happy. So you attract it. Now, if you're sad, obviously you're going to attract sad people. And you say to yourself, why, I'm around all these sad people. What am I learning from this? Well, it's something I don't really care to be in. And obviously, once in a while, we fall into that trap anyway. But it gets less and less because we're spending more time within ourselves rather than everything out there that distracts us on a second-to-second basis. Pulls us right back in the ego mind. And it is a distraction. And it's part of our entertainment on this planet that we've created for ourselves. Are there really any glitches? No, there's no glitches. There really is no imperfection. It is all perfect exactly the way it is. So we just kind of look at things and say, well, I can create this and I can create that whenever I choose. And it's a matter of fact. And so through the heart mind, you manifest for that moment what your desire or want is. And you just let go because you know it's already on its way. So in the quiet time of this meditation, the suggestion is focus on the power that you are in that body. Enjoying the meditation, I'll return to close this out. Take a slow and easy breath in through the nose. And slow and easy breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into your body, focused on the breath rising and falling. Everyone is your mirror. Every being you meet is reflecting a part of you. Some mirrors show your light, and others show your shadow. Each reflection invites you to see yourself with love, grace, and understanding. When we notice wealth or poverty, it is a reflection of abundance or lack that we feel inside our heart. Our journey is to embrace all that we see and not get lost in any one reflection. Just remember that you are the infinite, boundless, sweet, sacred awareness beyond it all. And when you look into the eyes of those perfect mirrors and see the divine staring back, each mirror reveals a sacred truth unfolding within your soul. Know that every reflection is perfect, a divine piece of the grand puzzle awakening in you right now. So if you take this as your homework for today, you take the risk and find out what you love in every mirror. In seeing what you love inside them, you awaken a greater love within yourself. Shine your light bright, for it is all being divinely guided and reflected back to you. Take this with you for the rest of the day, into the evening and night and the following morning. And we will return here Thursday, which is January 2nd, 2024, a little after 3:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our global guided meditation call. And Friday, 9:15, a little after 9:15 p.m. Eastern, to continue our reverse aging health call and all the rest. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest, eternal gratitude at all times. No matter what's going on outside of you or within you, open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.